addicted to love. Hold on tight to your dream.
So just for a change I thought I'd go back to the old introduction with my previous Mini Electric, and here this British Racing Green one, that's the one that I test drove that got me into it into the first place, and of course this is the Mini Electric that I have now. But what's next, and will it be another Mini? Hi everyone, welcome back for another video. Today we've just taken the Mini Electric over to Boston, to Listers, to take it in for a couple of warranty items. I had a very unusual squeak on the car when we got out of the car, almost like the central locking on the passenger side was squeaking. Did it then? So I wanted that to be looked at, and also the sunroof stopped working. And while we were in the dealership waiting for the warranty work, we'd organised to speak to Amber, our brilliant saleswoman that sold us the Mini Electric. Sales lady, I'm not sure which is the right term. We thought we would inquire about a Mini Clubman, so I'd like to talk about that. But first, the warranty items. The service manager Paul, he came out and told us, and I thought he was going to be, oh no, you know, it hasn't worked, or we can't do this, and can't find that. And it'd only been in for about 10-15 minutes. And he said basically he knows what the two issues are and he's got them resolved. They did a reset on some of the electrics and the sunroof suddenly worked instantly. And he thinks the squeak isn't the central locking, it's actually the, what would you call it, the rubber seal mount around the top edge of the window where the windows drop, and he thinks that was just squeaking. So they've done a bit of adjustment, done a bit of manoeuvring, and so far I can't hear the squeak again, so we'll find out whether it's gone. So all I can say is fantastic service from Listers Boston. The service manager and the sales side has been very consistent. They're dog friendly, they're efficient, they're really helpful and friendly. They even like a chauffeur. You know, Jeeves came around and brought the car around to us to the door to get back in, and they've given the car a little bit of charge as well. I couldn't ask for any more at all. The quality of service has been amazing. So warranty-wise, the ease of getting it booked in, the ease of getting it looked at, the ease of nothing's too much trouble. I really am pleased with the Mini experience. I wanted to share that. But what on earth were we doing going in talking about a Mini Clubman? Because that means it's petrol, not even hybrid. What on earth am I doing considering a petrol car? So let's give you a little bit of the story and my thought process. This is a second car for Susan, primarily, but also myself, so we share and use both cars.
Susan and Cracker.
Susan and Cracker, yep. So we wanted a bigger car with a longer range, so we ended up deciding on the Kia e-Niro.
No, Soul.
Soul, thank you. So the Kia e-Soul. Susan fell in love with the Kia e-Soul, so we ordered one. The 64 kilowatt hour e-Soul Max, but Kia pulled the rug from under us and cancelled the order. Not the dealership, Kia UK, so per to Kia for doing that, and they've given us no indication of when the 2023 model will come out and whether they'll even make one and bring it into the UK. So we've got no idea whether that will actually happen. Plus we've got no other electric car that Susan is interested in. Now for me and for you and for lots of other people, there's probably lots of cars you could choose from. You know, I wouldn't mind a Skoda Enyaq, you know, regardless of the availability and the wait time, especially the fastback version. I wouldn't mind a Polestar 2. I wouldn't mind. I'd like to consider a Mocha, but I wouldn't mind another Kona electric as well. Of course, I wouldn't mind a Porsche Taycan. So there are lots and lots of choices, but for Susan, none of those look right, sound right, feel right. Just nothing suits for her wanting the car apart from the e-Soul. And I think that's a problem with many people. You've got the enthusiasm for wanting an electric car, and I saw that online with Mr. EV, and yet his wife was thinking about going for a petrol Jeep, and it looked like she's a bit like Susan. The car and how it looks and how it feels and whether you want it and desire it is more important than the drivetrain. And there are obviously still a lot of people out there that aren't concerned about the drivetrain, they're concerned about the car. And I sort of found this when I first bought the Kona, because all the electric cars I tested I didn't want. I didn't want a Leaf, I didn't want an Ioniq, I didn't want a Zoe, and there weren't many more available at the time, so I couldn't buy a car that I wanted that was electric, and the Kona electric was the biggest and best compromise towards a car that I liked and wanted, plus was electric. Now the Mini electric has moved way further up that scale, and I'm much happier. This is a highly...
Leave the roundabout at the second exit towards Road A52 Grantham.
This is a highly desirable car. I absolutely love the car, and the drivetrain is electric. The only compromise is we go past a Sol electric. I think so, yeah. So the only downside is whether you really love the car as well. You know, this has got a smaller battery range, so that's the only compromise. But the car is electric, and it's a beautiful, fantastic car that I love, and Susan loves too. So finding a second one, a second different car with different range and different battery, that gives us that.
Leave the roundabout
Shut up.
at the second exit.
That gives us the same feeling is proving really, really hard, and the Soul met those requirements. The Soul suddenly ticked the box for Susan and for me, because I love the Kia Hyundai drivetrain, 64 kilowatt hour, very efficient, love it completely. I hated the seats in the Soul myself, so I'd be very tempted to take it to a coach maker and retrimmer and have the seats sportied up a bit, given a bit firmer bolsters on it. So if we had a Soul, I might be tempted to do that to make the car more suited to me. But if we can't have a Soul, what do we do? Because we love Mini, we love the Cooper Clubman. So we love the Clubman look, the 6th door with the 2 barn doors that open at the back, more of an estate car. We absolutely love that car. And lo and behold, they've released a nice colour in it and a leather interior combination that we love even more. And we've just been to the dealer to sit in a Clubman with that interior, and it is so special, so special. So the question is, should we change Susan's petrol Mini for an extremely special, wonderful Clubman that we're going to absolutely love, and compromise its petrol? They're not going to make a hybrid, they're not ever going to make a plug-in hybrid for the Clubman. There's no news that they're going to make an electric Clubman, ever. Sometimes online it says they're going to cancel the Clubman completely in 2024, but the dealership has just confirmed that they think 2025 they might actually release a Clubman electric, if not 2026. They don't think the Clubman will disappear out of the range. So whether it does or whether it doesn't, we don't know, but it's so many years away, we're not ready for a Clubman electric. So should we buy a petrol one? And I think this is a dilemma for so many people. They're not ready to go electric. Sometimes it's the excuse, it's the range, it's the electric, they're not sure about it. But for others, including ourselves, it's that we can't buy the electric car that we want.
It's not out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've questioned myself so many times. If Mini made an electric Clubman now with 50 kilowatt hours battery capacity, how much would I be prepared to pay for it? And I think it starts with a 5. I think I would be prepared to spend £50,000 on a Clubman electric, because there is nothing that comes near it. It is unique. Now the reality is, if they actually made one now, it would probably cost 40-something thousand. I don't think it would actually cost 50,000. But the fact that, in my mind, I would be prepared to spend that money, because I'd rather have it than a Polestar, I'd rather have it than an Enyaq fastback, I'd rather have it than an I-Pace. Yes, it's smaller, it's lower range, it's less all sorts of things, but because it's the Mini Clubman and it's got that character, it's more. So we're in this terrible situation where we want an electric Clubman and we can't have it. So should we just get a Clubman and wait for the right electric car to come along later? And it's not our fault that there aren't the right electric cars now, and hence we'll go ahead with buying a petrol Clubman now. But imagine how that'll feel for me, buying a petrol car. Well, one, it'll look atrocious online. I mean, for an EV advocate to go out and buy a petrol car, it's terrible. But this is the real world we live in, and a lot of people are in this situation. What do you want to do? Should you stop having fun? Should you stop doing what pleases you for the environment and have a car you don't want and you don't love? And I couldn't make that leap of just doing it for the environment and doing it because it's electric and then not loving the car. I like my cars too much to do that. So we are seriously considering it, and I'm sure lots of other people do seriously consider still petrol cars. I mean, some people will still consider a diesel car, and that's for another day, talking about diesel and whether there is still a market for diesel cars or whether there's such a stigma that you don't really want to do it. But we do find ourselves in a very difficult position right now, because I don't know if you can see Susan's face online, but when she got into the Clubman, I've never seen her smile so much in quite a very, very long time. It is an extremely luxurious place, even more so than my level 3 Mini Electric. It goes up a level in comfort as well. Spec wise, it was an exclusive with the sunroof pack, the Premium Plus pack that we're interested in, with rooftop grey colour with malt brown leather on the inside, and that combination just really, really goes well together. So it's a very, very attractive thing to consider. And yes, all the things are crossing my mind. What will it depreciate by? If I trade it in a year's time, 18 months time, 2 years time, how much will I have lost? Will it cost me so much more than if we went electric? Yes, the car tax will be a lot higher than it is on this Mini Electric. So I've actually got some...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, about 160 or 180 pounds a year, something like that, I think.
Very exclusive.
But then Susan chirps up saying, yes, this is the perfect car to go touring in. We want to go up to Northumberland and Scotland and visit Thurso and maybe a pop across to Orkney. We want to do all those things, but I was hoping to do it in an electric car. Would we really spend the money and do that with petrol at 48 miles to the gallon, which is, I think, is what we're likely to get from this Clubman? How would I feel about spending petrol and filling it up at hundreds and hundreds of pounds? So I've got this desire and want and smiles and happiness of this brand new gorgeous Clubman, but then
Conscience is nagging at you.
yeah, my conscience about not wanting to buy petrol. I don't mind so much the emissions. I can't believe I'm saying that. I don't mind the thought of doing a small amount of miles in a petrol car, because we've still got one now. So what's the difference between having a petrol 3-door Mini and a petrol Clubman? It's not as if we're adding any emissions. We just can't go electric because they don't make the bloody car we want.
First place.
Yeah. So should I just swap a 1.5 litre petrol for a 1.5 litre petrol and just have a smile at the nicer car and enjoy it? Would we actually drive it, or would we not want to fill it up at £100 a time to go on long journeys? And it's quite a deliberation. It's quite a difficult decision, because why, in a time with COVID and a time where life is short and life is precious, why should you not have what makes you happy? And if I decided, yes, we want the second electric car and just push forward with it, we won't be happy because we won't have the car that makes us happy. I could buy a Tesla Model Y Performance and I might be sort of happy with that, but Susan wouldn't be. She didn't like it when we test drove the Model Y, and to be honest, the ride quality was too soft for me in the long range, so I think the Performance is the one that we would need. So I'm not convinced that we could find an electric car that would make us all happy, because there are so many options. I mean, I'd even go for an Ioniq 38, and I would love to try and firm the suspension up a little bit and make the Ioniq a nice driver's car. But the Ioniq boot is a bit low for cracker. Susan doesn't like the Ioniq. So in all the cars we've looked at and all the cars we've tried and researched, there isn't one electric car that meets both of our needs, that suits cracker, Susan would love, and I would love too. So do we keep our petrol Mini? Do we keep Myrtle? Or do we swap and indulge ourselves with a Clubman that is fantastic and wait for the right electric car to come along? Yes, it's going to cost us more money. Yes, we'll lose some money in depreciation. And lo and behold, the trade-in value of Myrtle is looking like it's £2,000 less than it was a few weeks ago. So trade-in values are moving constantly. So it's very difficult to know whether it's the perfect time, unless the price looks right on that exact day. So I don't know what to do, and I don't know what Susan wants to do yet. She hasn't said very much on camera yet, but I wanted to share with you this dilemma, and it's not just us that's having it. Other people want to go electric but can't or won't because the right electric car isn't available. Whether it's a smaller one, a cheaper one, a fast enough one, a sporty enough one, a hot hatch, whatever it is, just isn't quite there. I thought we'd found a winner with this Seat or the Cupra Elborn, but because it's the right size, it's the right shape, it's the right cost, it's the right sort of everything, and the looks are much better than they are with the Volkswagen ID3 in my opinion. The interior and the seats is much nicer. The only downside I thought was the climate controls and some of the interior electronics. I don't think that would suit Susan. She's much more of a knobs girl than she is a touch sensitive slider on a screen.
What you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't go there. But as it turns out, Susan was an absolute no on it. She didn't even want to go for a test drive. So I'm quite disappointed with having to rule out all these cars without even looking at them. So yeah, I just thought I'd share this dilemma with you. What should we do? If you were in our situation, what would you do? Keep the Mini we've got? Buy any old electric car? And please don't say you'd buy a Nissan Leaf. I know there are people out there that like Nissan and like Nissan Leafs. We don't. They really don't do anything for us at all. I now think the 30 kilowatt hour Tecna Model 1 Leaf is actually a good value electric car. I appreciate it for what it is. And it does appear quite good value in this market. But other than that, the cars do nothing for us. So we're not interested in any Nissan at all, I'm afraid. Sorry, that's just distracted me. A truck driver was standing up against the car having a pee. I really didn't want to see that.
He didn't bother to tuck himself out of the corner.
I did not want to see that. So what would you do? Sod it by the clubman?
They'll all just say, just get a different wife.
Yeah, should I change the wife? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think we should do, and if you've got any great recommendations. But the Enyaq's out, the Cupra's out, the ID3's out, the ID4's out, the Polestar's out, the Mokka's out, the Corsa's out, the E28's out, the Ionic's out, the Kona's out, the E-Nero is out, Mercedes EQ out, all of the BMWs are out, although Susan did say she preferred the i4 to the Polestar. Yeah, I'll leave that there. i3 is definitely out, as you'll have seen from our test drive video. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you've got any good ideas for us.
You didn't say we could have a Mercedes though.
You haven't seen the Mercedes? Really?
No, you haven't shown me that one yet.
Well, it's a bit like that. It's a bit like a Kia
No,
look,
no.
but it's got a really sexy interior.
So it's an SUV shape then?
Yeah, it's got a luxury interior. I'll give it that. But it's just an SUV.
Another SUV. Okay, search continues.
So anyway, the other part of today's trip, we basically charged the Mini up to 100%, left with 120 miles of range. We drove 85 miles to Boston. They've given it a little trickle charge at the dealership, and it really was a trickle charge. It didn't stay on for more than a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. So I think we left with 52% of battery, but there was an Osprey charger just around the corner. So I thought we'd just have a quick cup of coffee and charge up, and literally we could only have a couple of slurps of coffee, and it was already at 80%. So the Osprey charger and the Mini, it is slow charging, but it goes so fast because you've got a small battery. So we've added enough charge easily to get where we're going, because there's a charger at the destination. We're going to a nice B&B and stopping overnight. So I've charged up to 80%, we're now at 68%, and we've only got 26 miles to go. So we've got loads and loads, but it's not about the journey to get to our destination, it's about how much charge we're going to have for the journey back to make sure we're full, basically, tonight, to get back home without having to charge. That's the plan, and that's the idea. And yeah, the Mini Electric for trips like this, doing about 100 miles out and 100 miles back, is a breeze, an absolute breeze, and there's plenty of chargers around Norfolk and Lincolnshire that we can pop in, and literally less than 10 minutes on that charger. But can you believe some dick of a van driver was blocking both charge bays by parking in the right-hand bay and charging using the left-hand charging cable? So he was basically blocking the two charging bays. Luckily, because our Mini has the charging port at the back on my driver's side, I could reverse in and get a charge. But if your charge port was in a different position, then you wouldn't have been able to get a charge on that charger. Very annoying, Mr. Van Driver. Don't do that again. Anyway, there's my moan for the day. It's a lovely sunny day. We're having a gorgeous drive. We love this Mini Electric. Will we have a Mini Clubman as well? I'll put a picture up now to show you what we're considering buying, and let me know whether it's a why would you want to buy that, or wow, I understand what you mean. Would you like this, Susan?
Yes.
Yeah, you would. Okay. Take care. See you again soon. Bye.